Hello, everyone. So, today I'm going to discuss a rare heart disease that you may have never heard of called Shone's complex. Shone's complex is considered to be a congenital heart disease. Congenital means that you are born with a condition and that it doesn't develop later in life. And you may be asking, why have I never heard of the condition itself? That's because only 1% of all congenital heart diseases that are diagnosed around the world are diagnosed as Shone's complex. This is due partly, in fact, because Shone's complex is different than other defects, mainly because it only affects the left side of the heart instead of multiple areas of the heart, like a lot of other defects and diseases that we more commonly associate with heart disease and heart defects. I know this all too well as my daughter was diagnosed with this condition. So I wanted to bring awareness to the condition itself, as most people have never heard of it, and this includes medical professionals, which, as a parent of a child that has this condition, is terrifying. There's little to no documentation on the condition itself as well. So today we'll be going over how it is diagnosed, how it is treated, and what the prognosis is, just so you can be aware of the disease itself, and it might save a loved one day, perhaps. So, Shone's complex is normally diagnosed in newborns. This being said, it can still be diagnosed in as late in life as 32 years of age, which is super crazy, considering that there's no or little documentation on the disease itself. So, the reason there is no or little documentation on the condition is because most of it was written 40 years ago, only in pediatric patients. 40 years ago, to be diagnosed with Shone's was a death sentence. Most of the children never made it to 4 or 5 years of age before the condition completely overtook them. Now, fast forward 40 years later, we know a little bit more about the condition itself and how we can intervene to give the patient a much longer life. Um, there's different grafts and surgeries, as as well as full valve replacements that can be done to help with the condition itself. Now, the problem with some of the grafts and some of the prosthetics for the condition is that most of the patients outgrow them. And what I mean by that is, if a child is given a mitral valve replacement, that replacement grows with them to a certain point. After a certain point, the heart becomes too large for the prosthetic itself, which can lead to complications as well as rejecting the actual graft itself. Luckily, I have not experienced that, as my daughter did not need a valve replacement. This being said, valve replacements are very common with this condition, as well as grafts. So to be diagnosed with the condition, you have to have at least 3 of 8 different defects on the left side of the heart, for it to be considered Shone's complex. Um, and now that you kind of know this, you can spread the word as well to anyone that will listen, that this condition does exist and that there are patients that are diagnosed with them as a newborn, and they get to live much further into their age, into their years, like everyone else does, due to medical interventions and how we have progressed medicine. So I do appreciate you taking the time to listen, and I hope this was for educational and that it may help somebody one day. Thank you.